Hello, welcome back to my channel, guys. So in today's video I have a little bit of a video that kind of takes me back to when I first started getting into YouTube. So I pulled out all my old makeup that I don't use anymore. I'm hoping that it's not out of date, we're just gonna ignore that bit. And I remember watching these when the trend went out ages ago, and at that time I wasn't filming, and I was like, oh, I'd love to film one of them. So here I am filming it. This is about a year on to when I first did my first ever everyday makeup routine, which was actually my first video ever as well. So this is crazy for me. But yeah, and I actually want to see if I can do my makeup how I used to compared to how I do now, and if it actually is improved in all those times. So let's get started. So I thought I would start from the beginning and actually prep my face how I used to as well. So I used to use this so much. This is the Drink of H2O Tarte. It's like a gel water cream. I remember when everyone used to use gel water creams. They're just not a thing anymore. To be fair, I don't remember the last time I used this one. I can understand it like hydrates your skin if you're dry, which I do have dry skin, so it makes sense to me. But if I'm actually thinking about it, like what kind of properties does this actually have besides like the hydration? Like it doesn't really protect your skin from much. So, and to go with it, I had the Maracuja Sea Brighten Eye Cream. So this is just the Tarte eye cream that comes with it, and this is a teeny tiny pot. Just put that underneath my eyes. This was like my everyday. I can usually do my everyday makeup in about 15 minutes, so I'm wondering how long this will take me. Oh my god, I remember getting this ages ago. I've been through like 3 tubs of these. I don't use it anymore because I like my Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter a lot more, but I used to use it so much. So this is the Tinted Under Makeup Spankle Primer in Champagne. This is by Laura Geller. When I used to get all technical with my brushes as well, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to apply this with a brush because I'm all fancy. I just use my hands. I'm going to do it now as well, just to reminisce. Oh, my hair's getting stuck in it. I have to say though, it has made me look glowy. I have to say. I do actually quite like it. I'm still going to rub it in with my skin, with my hands, because I feel like that looks a lot better. Also, something that I have done from the beginning of when I used to got into makeup compared to now is that I always put on a lip plumper before I start my makeup. And I've got it on now, and it's I use the Victoria's Secret one because I've always used it and I don't know why. And I still use it now, and I have quite a couple of bottles. It's probably the only thing I'll ever buy from Victoria's Secret, but so oh my god this was like the first foundation I ever got. So this is the MAC Face and Body, and I've got like the bigger version. This is in the shade C15. I remember buying this because it was discounted, and I didn't even know what kind of coverage it was, why it was there. I just remember buying it because it was MAC, and I was like, oh my god, I need it. It was my first foundation I ever owned. Not this bottle, but like this particular foundation. And I remember not even knowing my colour, and I didn't want to get matched because I was like, I don't know what it was about being matched in a makeup counter that made me extremely nervous, so I never used to do it. But I remember just picking it up going, yeah, that'll do, and I didn't even know it matched me. Luckily it did, but I'm very much surprised. I used to use a lot of it as well, so I'm going to use a lot of it now, but I don't know if that's such a good idea, so I'm going to take about that much of it. So the next thing I have is, everyone still uses this and it's really good. This is the Age Rewind by Maybelline in the shade Nude. I love it. It's such a good concealer. Like if you've not tried this, this was my favourite concealer. Right now I use the Born This Way, the multi-sculpt concealer. And I'm going to genuinely do my makeup how I used to. So just put that underneath my eyes. The next thing I'm going to use, which I still use now, is my ABH contour kit in the shade. So this is the shade Fair. I'm not fair, but I just really like this colour. All of these are wasted by me because I don't use them, but the Fair one is so good. And this was, like the Face and Body, I bought it for the same reason, in the sense that it was on sale in TK Maxx, and I was like, I'm not fair, I can't buy this, but you know, you get the makeup obsession head and you're like, I just really want it, so I bought it, but I still use it like 5 years later, so it worked in my favour. Most definitely. And this is the MAC 157 brush. And it's just a tiny kabuki brush. It's microfibered and it's like a contour brush. I remember when, so this is going to be a lot of I remembers. I remember when I was obsessed with getting a contour brush because I thought they were so cool, and I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And I was like, oh, I want a contour brush. This is not how I would blend my contour in now. I usually use my elf brush. But this is how I used to do it, so this is how I'm going to do it now. This is how I thought I was so cool when I used to contour. I remember the technique of like pushing it up. Push your contour up. Looking very cakey. I'll give you a close-up of my skin. I'm not used to my skin looking like this. So, as the rule used to apply, if you didn't set your face, you're going to crease. So I use the Chanel translucent one. I've always used this powder. It's my favourite powder of all time. Ever since I've bought it, you can't get me to buy another powder or use it. So what I used to do is put some in the lid, like so, and then get a brush and just put it underneath my eyes like this, because I used to not believe in baking because I thought it used to make me look cakey. I bake now all the time. I can't do my makeup without baking, so the fact that I used to think that made me look cakey and not probably the foundation or the way that I'm doing my makeup is quite ironic. Because I was like, I don't want to bake, like I don't like using that much powder. Freaking, like, now I'd be lucky if I didn't bake. If I don't bake, I feel like my makeup's not on properly, or that it won't last. And I suppose like times have changed now and my job has changed and I have to wear makeup for a really long time without topping it up, so baking gives me that little bit of extra longevity to be able to wear the makeup that I want to wear. So the next thing we have, because we are contour queens over here, is the Too Faced Cocoa Contour Kit. I remember, this is going back quite a long time, when I was probably about 18 or so, I'm 23 now, is the first time I went to America, and I'd never seen a Sephora in my life, and it wasn't the fact that I was going to America for Sephora, like I was going on holiday with my family, and while I do this I'm just going to contour, so I'm going to mix the two, because that's what I used to do. And this is the Morphe M530. This is not a contour brush, but apparently to me it was. Yeah, so we were going on a family holiday and I was desperate to go to Sephora, so I saved up like £1,000 of my money, like £1,000, and I was like, I am going to spend it all. I'm going to buy all the makeup that I want. And at this time in my collection I had nothing. Like, I had a couple of Makeup Revolution bits, and that's it. That's all I had. I had nothing else. And I was so excited. I remember first getting there and just, it wasn't even the fact that I was even looking at what I was buying. It was just the fact that I was picking it up because I knew that I was there. I just remember how much happiness I have. And before we got there, because we stayed in Philadelphia and we went to the some kind of shopping centre, mall, whatever you want to call it. Just contouring my nose. And I saw a Sephora and we got there early. A couple of hours early before it even opened, but they had like other things open, like they had the food section and like a couple of shops open, but everything wasn't open. So we were walking around and my family was like, oh, let's go get breakfast there and stuff like that, and we were like, yeah, let's do that. And I remember walking past it and be like, oh my god, I want to go in, I want to go in, I want to go in, and I couldn't. So I was waiting and waiting, and I was so freaking excited, and I literally went crazy. Like most of this makeup is from that like haul, because before that I was doing my makeup with whatever I could find and none of it was like available, or if it was from like Superdrug or something. But this was like my first like crazy high-end haul, and all this makeup is gonna go back to that story. This is how I got it. So on that trip I went to duty free, obviously that's where I got my Chanel powder from, and I picked up the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark. This is not my colour at all. I personally wouldn't wear it. It's quite orange, but I used to love it, so we're going to use it now. So this was actually the one that a lady recommended to me, and I bought it because I thought she was right. So the next thing I have, which I also got from duty free on that trip, was Benefit Rocketeer. So that's the colour of it, if you've not seen Benefit Rocketeer before. It's quite a neutral shade, to be honest. I quite like this blush because it kind of like goes with everything. Like you can wear it with pretty much any makeup look and you've got yourself a like shade. Before I start on the next thing, the first thing I've got to tell you is the smell of this. Okay, so I'm okay with fragrance things, but not fully. This stinks to me. Like it actually smells bad. It's so fragrant that every time I open it I'm like, and it goes up my nose and then I can't smell for a bit. It's the only thing I don't like about it. I actually really like the colour. I can't stand the smell of it. Like, it might be dramatic, but I genuinely can't. Right, so we've had a little bit of an issue. So my camera actually died. I know, YouTube problems. Ended up doing my eyebrows because I just got a bit bored waiting for the camera, and it's actually quite a few hours later. So I started initially filming at 4 and it's actually 7:30 now, and everything's just failed. But anyway, my makeup's still on, so I'm still going to carry on with this video. And let's be honest, I'm not really going out like this, so it's okay. As I said, I'm going to add a little bit more blush on because, do you know what? I genuinely don't feel like I've got anything on my face right now. Like, it just seems a bit too normal, so I'm just going to add a bit of more blush on, see if that changes anything. I think it was the bronzer, you know, the fact that I feel like the bronzer didn't do anything. For my brows, I use the ABH brow pomade, which I use all the time, but I used to use a different colour. So at the minute I use Ebony, and this colour is dark brown, and this does not, like, it's just not the right colour, and it's got a lot of gaps in it. I don't know if it's like melted in the sun, because I remember my brow pomade used to do that a lot, or whether this is just old and it's lost its life, so that's why you can see like a gap and stuff. So the next product I'm going to use to hopefully fix that is, this is the Eyeshadow Brow Gel Tinted Brow Booster. I believe this doesn't come in a colour, or I've just got this one, I'm not so sure, but I used to use this all the time. And I do have to say that now I use the ABH new Definer Brow. That is so much better than this. This is so oily and so liquidy. The brush is huge. So that's what the brush looks like. Let me know if you feel me on this, but did you ever buy stuff for the sake of like the hype? So because you saw another person use it, or because it worked for them, or because, I don't know, you saw it online or saw it in an advert and you were like, oh yeah, I'll try it, and then you used it because you spent money on it and you were like, okay, well I need to utilise it now because I have it, or because you didn't want to waste it. That's what this was. This was one of those products, and you used it for the sake of using it, but I actually don't like it whatsoever. So enough of my ramble, let me just put this through my brows. So I always used to put it at the front, and then I used to kind of just run it through the rest. just don't feel like it did anything. And I remember when I did my brows afterwards, they used to separate a lot. And there's nothing worse than a separated brow. There was once where I was in New York and it was really, really hot, and I put this eyebrow tint through my eyes, and I am not kidding you. I mean, bearing in mind it was hot that day, it was the middle of August, I get it. I understand. My eyebrow was up here. It was on my head. My friend looked at me and was like, "Nay, sort your eyebrows out." And I was like, like, it was bad. Bad. So they're not so bad. They're not so bad, but they're not my preferred. I don't particularly like them, but we'll ignore them because it's for the video. So the next thing I'm going to use, which I used all the freaking time, was the this is the Benefit concealer. What's up concealer? What's up? So this is what it looks like. It's got 2 shades. This one is the actual concealer. This one, I have no freaking idea what it's for. I will swatch it for you just to show you what I mean. It literally does nothing. It might as well just be transparent, if you can even see that. It was just useless. Like, I just didn't get the point of it. So I used to carve out my brow with this. I don't actually use this at all anymore now. I just use my concealer. And do the same to the other side. And the next thing I did was actually prime my eyelids. So I use the Urban Decay Primer Pusher in the shade Eden. This is, I at first didn't really get the point of primer. I was like, is it really going to make my, like, everything last longer? Do I believe you? But I quite like the fact that it blurs out my eyes, it takes out the oiliness, and that kind of thing kind of covers up the little bit of, like, pigmentation that I have on my eye because of the concealer. So for that reason I actually like it, but then I'm actually thinking you could probably just use a concealer and it would most likely just do the same thing. Literally just get a powder and just set my eye. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you now that I've got this palette out. So I know I used this before, the Cocoa Contour, but I believe I started talking and didn't actually show you. So these 2 shades are actually very good. I don't know if Too Faced sell this anymore, but if they do, it's actually a really good palette to use. It's not very good for travelling because it's so bulky, like it's literally like a book. This shade's actually really nice as well. So I have the shade the dark medium deep. I do have to say that their shades are a little bit limp, so the light to medium one I couldn't use, it was too light, and I can use this one, but I don't know how someone with a deeper skin tone with me would be able to use it. I mean, maybe they'd be able to use that one, so I don't think it's very user friendly. And this highlighter is shocking, and it's so powdery and it's got massive chunks of glitter on it. My next ramble over, I'm gonna go with eyeshadow. First proper, like, eyeshadow palette, and the reason why I liked it was because you could just follow your way down and you can have an eyeshadow rather than it being that you're like picking one out of this palette and then picking one out of this palette and doing stuff like that. It's very beginner friendly, so that's what it looks like. I'm sorry if the light's shining on you right now. But that's the purpose of it. So you just kind of like start your way up and follow down, and you've got yourself a look without even trying, almost. So that's a little story behind it. So I was like, oh, I think I'd be able to get that, so I did. And because it's an everyday, and because I do wear eyeshadow anyway, but I usually just wear 1 or 2, I will probably just do the same thing. So I've already set my eyelids with a shadow, so I'm gonna go in straight with a transition. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Wimpsy, which is the orange one right there. And then just, oh, see, that's very pigmented, more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. Some of Tarte eyeshadows are actually very good, better than they have credit for, I think anyway. So that's literally what I do usually, is I just get one eyeshadow and just put it in my crease and then I blend it out. And that's like my everyday, just to give me like a little bit of definition. I'm going to go in with the same shade, but I'm just going to take a more tapered brush. So this is the MAC 221, and I'm going to kind of nestle it into my crease so that I've made a little bit more definition and it's actually sitting on my eye rather than around it. Gonna put one, so I quite like this one. So this one's Ethereal. This one right here, this nice goldy shade, and I'm just gonna put that in right here, dark. Oh, a little bit under my brow. That's quite dark, so I'm just going to take the one underneath it, Glam, and I'm just going to put it over. Give it a little bit more of a pop. And then just going with Glam over the top. So then you've still got the other shade coming through, but it gives you that little bit more. So far, I'm not really liking this makeup look. I just, like, when I said that I feel really cakey, I genuinely do feel really cakey. I feel like my makeup's really on there. I can feel it on my face. It's not covered up any of my spots. I mean, it is my time of the month, but either way, like, I can still see red marks. Like, what is that? I don't feel like I've got any bronzer on. My contour doesn't look good. My eyes they're okay. Like, I can deal, but they're not my favourite. Not saying this eyeshadow palette's bad, but I feel like, do you ever have that thing where, because you don't like one thing about your makeup, you kind of just, everything goes with it? So I'm not really feeling that as much. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to do for my eyes for now, just because it isn't every day and we're going to keep it simple. The next thing I'm going to use is I think I've just got a couple of steps left, so I'm going to use a mascara. So when I going a couple years back, I actually never owned a full-size mascara. I used to have samples. I used to buy samples. I used to steal samples because sample mascaras were so good. So this one's a Clinique one. I've had this one for a while. The brush is a little bit strange, if I can show you. So it's green and then it kind of has like it's not really a brush, it's more like just a piece of plastic. But no matter what mascara you use, if it's like, I always felt for a sample size, it was just good. Like, you can't beat one. I think it was just because the fact that it didn't dry out as quick and you're using it more quicker and all of that. So I love them. So I actually never used to have full size mascaras. I was your sample size girl and I loved it. So that's my mascara done. So I believe I skipped highlighter, so I'm actually going to put some on. So I am going to use Benefit What's Up. I've not used this in ages. The colour of it is actually really nice. So if you've not seen Benefit What's Up, which I'm pretty sure you have, this is what it looks like. I'll swatch it on my hand just so that you get a shade. It's actually a nice highlighter, I'm not even going to lie. Like, it's a nice shade. I don't know why I don't use it anymore. I think it's just because other things have happened. But how I used to do it is I used to put it on my finger and just put it in the places that I wanted to put it. Also, who never touched the brush or the sponge? It's a sponge, isn't it? A sponge. So the highlighter that I used to go over it with was Benefit. It was Becca Opal. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this because mine is in a bad way. So this is what mine looks like. So if you own this, you'll feel me. These literally break in like 2.5 seconds. Like, I owned this for less than a week and it's smashed to pieces. I mean, Becca highlighters are great, but like, they're just so sensitive. Yeah, see, that looks, it's pretty good. Yeah, see, the highlight is really good. It's just the fact that it's, so yeah, that's what the highlighter looks like. So I believe we're on to our final step now. So we're gonna do lips. So I have 3 lip products, which are my ride or dies. I don't really use them anymore, but I definitely used to. So the first lipstick I ever got was MAC Mare, and I had Boldly Bare lip liner with it. So I never used to wear makeup when I was younger. Up to about 17 years old, I never really got into it. I had like the little palettes that I used to get in like presents and stuff, and I used to use them, but that was about it. And my mum one day just, like, we were in town together, we were having a shop, and we went past Debenhams, and she just went, you need to wear makeup. She was like at least get yourself a nice lipstick. She was like, you're getting older now, and like, I just never bothered. I was like, oh, I'm fine as I am, kind of thing. And she was like, can you please just go get yourself a lipstick? So I went, she took me to MAC. She bought me the lipstick and the liner, the MAC Mare and Boldly Bare. And I feel like ever since then, even she says it, that she created the monster. Like, because since then, so before that I didn't know about YouTube and everything that people were doing on it, and I remember going on YouTube actually googling like how to apply a lipstick properly, because it wasn't the fact that I maybe didn't know how to do it, I was just curious, and I was like, I knew that you could go on YouTube and find out those things, so I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go on YouTube and find out how I can apply lipstick properly. And then I found all these other videos from it, and this is how it happened. And then she says that like since that day she literally created a monster, because since then I was like, okay, well if I'm gonna put lipstick on, I'm gonna get foundation, I'm gonna get concealer, and then I was looking at all these videos going, I need to get contour, I don't even know what contour is, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and this is how it happened. Just a little backstory for you guys if you ever needed to know that. That's how I got the makeup bug. And I don't care what you say, the makeup bug is well and truly real. So the next one I have, so as much as I have MAC Matte, I don't actually own that anymore, because I actually ended up using up the whole thing, because it was my favourite lipstick for ages. But the lipstick that I owned after that was actually Kat Von D. This one is Bow and Arrow. I know that you know this. I know that you know. I don't actually like this shade for me. I don't think it actually suits me that much. But at the time, I obviously thought that it did. So yeah, I'm just going to go back in the liner. There's a Kat Von D lipsticks are not actually that bad. Like, they're actually pretty good lipsticks, like liquid lipsticks. They're quite thin. You don't feel like you've got them on. They do have the tendency to get a little bit sticky, but like, you know, the Anastasia ones where they're genuinely heavy on your lips, like they're not like that. And they were my first. And then after that I'm going to put on my Lip Maximizer Collagen Lip by Dior, the Lip Glow. So this goes back to when this was like the bougiest thing to own. Like, everyone had lip plumpers, but this was like the expensive version. And I remember getting it on sale. And I used to put it over the top, because at that time Kylie Jenner was around and having massive lips was a thing. And I used to overdraw the crap out of mine. I don't anymore, because I've accepted that I don't have big lips, and I'm actually fine with it. And I'm almost a little bit happy that I didn't get lip filler, because I was very close to getting it at one time. But that's how it happened, and yeah, I'm glad, because even she doesn't have lip like filler anymore, so it was all just pointless. So that is the end of this makeup look. I don't think it's bad, right? But I think that the routine I have right now, the one thing that this video has taught me is the routine I have right now is probably the best one. Like, it's something that I think looks good on me, something that I like almost worked on for a really long time to get my makeup to like this really good stage where I feel good about it and where it looks good and where I can look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I feel like I did a good job. This, like, my foundation is cakey AF. Like, I can see it separating on my chin, and I've got a red mark, like, so that's what it looks like. It's not too bad, I'm just not complaining, I just like it now. So yeah, that's the purpose of this video, and this is where we got to. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, give me the thumbs up, and I shall see you in my next one.